Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share my experience on how can you find accommodation in Paris. So I guess for a lot of you guys out there, it's going to be very difficult and definitely a pain in the ass when it comes to finding accommodation in Paris in general. Because as a foreign student, or if you happen to travel here, or if you are working here in Paris, it's going to be a hell. It's going to be hell for you to find a place to stay, a proper place to stay. And if you are especially a student, you have to think about the budget. So you're poor, right? So anyway, it's going to be very difficult. I won't say anything about that. So now let's look at the first option you could have. So you could always contact your university. So for a lot of universities, they actually have a team called the accommodation team. So this team from your uni, they usually deal with international and French students who is struggling with finding a place to stay in France in general. So you could contact them and just seek advice, maybe consultation on what are your options are. So basically contact them. So in majority of the cases, I would say that you could have a few options that could be viable through the universities. So the first one is just take a look at their university website. So some university, they have their own property, maybe within the campus or around the campus. I don't know what they are called, but they usually have something like that. So you could contact them and ask them about the price. So let's call them self-owned resident buildings by uni. So let's just call them that. And then the second option might be, there might be some centralized place for students to live. So this is usually called the cour or le crous. Okay, let's put le here. So this is very funny because it's usually very cheap. Like how cheap? Because I heard from my friends who live there, they usually pay somewhere between 300 euros per month, including everything, in the course. So it's usually cheap, and you basically have everything in place in those kind of places, including a kitchen, including a bedroom with one or two desks and a shower along with the room you're having, and also maybe, and I'm not sure about the private bathroom, the toilet, everything, but at least you can have a private shower and a bed to sleep and a table to do your homework with. So that's basically it. It's really cheap, but it has everything, and I would say that it's usually about 8 to 11 square meter. So it's perfect for one person if you're not too tall, or you're not too, I don't know. So if you are basically looking for some place really cheap for one person, the cruise might be the solution for you. So it's usually about 300 euros per month. I'm going to type in French. Okay, shit. Okay, per month. But in some cases, if you want to go deeper on the price, you could also find something viable via Le Creuset. They might have something cheaper, like 200 euros to 250 euros, but you have to share your bathroom or your toilet with somebody else. So that's the other solution. And if you have more budget and you want to live in a studio, how about this situation? So let's say that your budget is somewhere between 500 euros to 700 euros per month. Where can you live within with this budget? So I would say that you could also ask the accommodation team from your university. So in a lot of the cases, they usually work with a service provider that is dedicated to find a place to stay for international students. So in my case, my uni has a cooperation with a website called start part. I'm not sure if I pronounce this correctly, but I will show you how to find a place to stay via this website. So they have this kind of cooperation. So if you register with this website, you basically don't have to provide a lot of other information. You give them your university enrollment or offer letter, and then you pay the rent, you sign a contract, etc. That's basically it. You don't need to go through all the processes in general to find a place to stay in France. It's usually a lot of documents you need to provide. So now let's take a look at how you could find a place to stay on this website. And what else? I would say that there are some other websites that you could use. So there are some like classified advertisement website in France as well. I forgot the name of the biggest one, but I think if you just Google it, it's going to be the search, the very first search result. That's going to be there on Google. But I'm going to tell you something very useful, very handy. So basically, you could find a place through Facebook. Through Facebook groups. So if you go on Facebook, you might search on a group like Paris, maybe appartement, something like that, or Paris colocation. So colocation in French means shared room, something like that. So if you just go on these places, you could also find some useful clues on how to find a place to stay in Paris. But I have to warn you that there are a lot of scammers within this group. So if you just come through some advertisement, it's just too good to be true. It's usually a scammer. And now I think at least in Paris, even the old people, they know how to use internet, they know how to use Facebook, Messenger, etc. So if someone contact you maybe via email, or they ask you to send your inquiries on email, or they reply you, they can send their information, their photo on email. It's usually a scam. So don't buy in that. So that's what I want to share. And now let's take a look at the prices that is normal in Paris. So I would say that if you live in the Paris city, so like the Little Paris area, it's normally from 500 euros to 800 euros for a single room, or in some cases a small studio. So this price is for a single room or small studio. So for this kind of price, you would definitely be able to find a place like a reasonable or presentable place to live within the Little Paris area. So you don't need to stay in the suburb per se, but if you're looking for something really fancy, like the place where Emily stayed in Paris, I don't think that. So forget about it. And if you are looking for maybe a bigger room in Ile-de-France, is basically like the France island, like the Paris island. So that includes Paris city, the Little Paris, and the suburbs. I think the price might be cheaper, so you could basically find something from 400 euros to I don't know, for 600 euros for like a very big, very presentable room there. So that's in Ile-de-France. Yeah, Ile-de-France. So if you are seeing some place really cheap, like 300 euro, I don't think that's possible, because the last situation I'm going to mention is some place called Chambre de Bon. So the Chambre de Bon in Paris or in France is a very special place to stay. So you know that a lot of the buildings in Paris are very old, right? They probably have hundreds of years of experience. I don't know how to say it. They probably have been there for hundreds of years. So it's usually 5 to 6 stories. Okay, just floors. It's easier. And there is basically the last floor. The last floor is usually called chambre de bon. So in general in France, if you see like a really old building, and usually the last floor, the top floor is called chambre de bon. It's for the maids in ancient times. So it's very small, somewhere from 8 square meter to 15 square meter, and it's usually cheaper than the studio I mentioned, but it depends on where you are trying to live. I would say that for the 16th, the 16, 17th, 8th, 10th is usually very expensive for a chambre de bon. It might also cost you 600 euros for just for the price and for the space. So it's very very expensive, and you might have to share your toilet with somebody else, like with a lot of other people. So think about that. So this is my video on how to find a place to stay in Paris. I hope it's helpful, and if you have any other question, just let me know or leave a comment and I will reply you when I have time. So thank you. Au revoir.